As a solicitor, would I be able to basically ring you up and ask you a question?
Yes, anytime. Sometimes the best way to ring us up is by email, but we do respond to questions without any charge or obligation from solicitors. And indeed, if a solicitor's got a Section 16 statement, we're happy to look at that on a no charge and no obligation basis and come back and say whether there are particular points which we think are important and whether we might be able to assist.
So, David, I don't want my client to think that I have gaps in my knowledge about his or her particular case. How do I justify then calling in you as an expert?
I think what the message that we would be giving your client is that you have gone the extra mile by looking for particular expertise to help him when he's facing a trial or a confiscation, to give him the fullest package of support you can. And of course it doesn't cost the client if it's under legal aid.
That is probably what the solicitor will be most concerned about, the cost.
Yes, I understand solicitors are concerned about cost, but it is covered by legal aid, and so that ultimately the client isn't going to have to put his hand in his pocket. And of course, in confiscation cases, very often the client's assets will be under restraint, so he couldn't possibly pay anyway.
Most confiscations are settled by agreement, possibly at the door of the court or earlier. Does that mean that you weren't needed after all?
Well, no, I don't think it does. Indeed, I think instructing us helps you reach a sensible agreement with the prosecution because they can see that their figures have been subject to a critical review and challenge, and they are then sometimes prepared to reduce their figures of benefit, for example, quite substantially in the light of what we've been able to say to them.
Would the prosecution bring an expert to court?
It's very rare in practice for the prosecution to bring an independent expert. What happens with the prosecution is that they usually bring the author of the Section 16 statement, who is a financial investigator, but in most cases not a properly qualified accountant. And because of that, they are facing somebody from the defence side who has more skills and more qualifications, which puts the defence at a relative advantage.